Shelly and are here at the boat, and we brought my buddy Brandon was able to hook me up with some old Benemy bars, and they're too big for this setup, but I cut them in half, and then I kind of got them attached where we're wanting to put them, and got it taped there in the middle, and we've got it level so it's plumb going up each side. And I think this is about where we'll have it, and then I've got another piece at home that will have come off the front here, and I don't know if I'm gonna have it come in front of the rear stay or have it be behind it. But basically this will be our structure for our 2 solar panels that I want to get for the boat. All right, I'm slowly piecing this thing together. I've got it's attached to these 2x4s, and I'm trying to get it built and adjusted to where it will be pretty close to what it should be on the boat, and then I can adjust it on the boat a little bit if needed. All right, Shelly and I got the Benemy structure complete. It's level and really strong. So my solar panels should be here in a couple days, and we'll set those up on there and figure out all the mounts for those. Solar panels are in. These are supposed to be high efficiency for partial shade, which, you know, we got the mast, we got sails, 200 watts each. Oh man, we just had some lightning. That was really close too. That was flash and then thunder almost right afterwards. Crazy. So I'm gonna unbox these and play around with how I'm going to mount them on here. All right, I'm just playing around with this thing, trying to figure out how I want to mount it. So obviously my bows are bowed. I bought these stainless steel, you know, strap things to that I can bolt this end down with. But then I think I want my panels level. I think it would look stupid if they were not. I got this aluminum bar stock, so I just got to figure out how I want to do this to make it not look all hokey and stupid. I mean, there's things you can buy online, you know, obviously that'll make it really nice, but there's these little mounts you can buy with these little stubs coming off of them. The things are $40 each. So I'll be into the mounts almost as much as the panels cost, and I'm just not going to do that. So I'm going to have to figure out a different way to mount these that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. So I'll keep playing around with this and see what I come up with. So the rain just continues to come down like crazy. Yeah, it's just wild. Okay, we're making some progress. So this aluminum square stock stuff, I've actually held on to these pieces. I got these pieces, I don't even remember where I got them. I've probably had these things for 8-10 years, and a couple of times I've almost just thrown them away. Like, what am I going to use these for? Well, I'm using them now. So I cut an angle back, and I'm going to drill a hole here so that I can mount it into here. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notch this. I'm going to take a marker and notch this a little bit so that it sits down on there. Gosh, why don't that focus? So it sits down on there, and you don't have this gap. And then I'll buy a stainless U bolt to go up through here, and then just put some nylock nuts and a washer inside there. So that's the plan so far. Okay, I got notched and filed down. Okay, so that's fairly well seated on there. Okay, I'm all done with my brackets to attach these. I've got U-bolts that will go up through here, and then I drilled holes here to attach the panel. So tomorrow, weather permitting, I will be taking this whole setup out to the boat and getting it all mounted. Big huge starfish at the marina. And a Cordis boat show today. All right, we got it all mounted up today. So the panels are just, they're almost level, but we got them kind of draining off port and starboard. We put just a little bit of an angle to them. Put them up high so that I have headroom under here for cooking. So that way I can be over here barbecuing and not smacking my grape on any of this stuff. So I'm wiring these in series. So I'm getting the hots and negatives connected. And then I'm gonna measure basically from this corner down and then down inside the boat. And then I'm gonna run it alongside the gunnel here. So here's my two batteries right now. I think battery 2 is the one I usually use for the engine, and battery 1's the house, but these two will become the house battery bank, and then I'm installing a third battery right here, and that will be the engine battery. Working on the battery install, third battery install. I got this area taped off right here. Here's my block. I painted it all up. So I think I'm gonna have 5200 this down, either 52 or 4200. But that stuff will not stick to this oil-based bilge paint. So I'm gonna sand off this stuff right here and get a nice profile on it. All right, I got it all sanded up. So I'll take this tape off, and then we'll wipe all this down with acetone, get it nice and clean. and then put down a whole bunch of 4200, 5200. I want this block to stick here really good. Okay, I got it glued down. And then I screwed this side down to the box, or down to the block, and then I screwed this side down into the structure that the fuel tank used to be secured in. I put the strap loops on here, so now I'm going to set the box on here and then set the battery in here so that it can hold down that sealant and it'll get a really nice hold on the boat. Okay, it's in there. This thing is super solid too. So I got the box screwed down, the plastic box screwed down to that, and then I've got this strap screwed down with its brackets. So that should be super secure. Next I need to figure out cabling. So this is going to become a battery bank. So I'll go positive to positive, negative to negative, and then one of these positive wires will come off and go over to the battery box, and then I'll need a negative to run over and tie in to the grounding system. I got the old batteries out. It looks like the old hold down brackets are toast, pretty broken. This battery box I bought came with the extra set, so I'll put 2 in, and then I'll have to buy some more of these for the other battery. So I'll get all this cleaned up. Alright, back at the boat today. Got a whole bunch of supplies for doing all this wiring. I got 2 watt cycle lithium batteries on the way, so we're gonna be redoing a little bit of the strategy. I was gonna use 2 lead acid here, but this lead acid is old. This lead acid is a starter battery, so I can't use those 2 together. And the watt cycle lithium batteries actually only ended up being about $20 more per battery than a lead acid battery. So I figured, why not just go with that. Bought the DC to DC charger so I can charge the lithium off of the starter battery here. I got cabling, so we're gonna be making up some new battery cables today. Doing new battery cables from the starter battery to the starter, because the ones from the factory are only 6 gauge and that's undersized for today's standards. So I've got 2 gauge for that. I'm going to be using the 6 gauge positive and negative cables for the house battery system, because that'll be more than enough for that. We'll be running the wiring down through the boat from the solar system or solar panels. We're going to run it along this passage here, and I need to play around with where to mount all of this Victron stuff. I've got a Victron solar controller, a Victron DC to DC charger, and I got a Victron, my buddy gave me an old Victron 500 watt inverter so we can run some real small appliances, mainly just a coffee grinder so we can grind our beans up on our big trip coming up, and just some other stuff we can use it for. So just gonna kind of try to figure out where I want to put stuff. Need to install an on-off switch for the starter battery going to the engine also, and so yeah, I'm just gonna figure out where stuff's gonna go, and then I'll start working on it. This is the old 4-aught. I thought it was 6-aught. Some of the electrical stuff up there is 6-aught, but this is 4. This is the new 2, so a lot thicker. Got it all disconnected from the starter and from the engine block with the negative. I'm going to use the old wire to pull the new wire under the floor here, and then up to where it will be connecting to the starter battery. Okay, we got the new 2-aught cables ran to the starter and engine block for positive and ground. Got them ran over here. Here's this end that'll go to the on-off switch, and here's the other end that will go to the other end of the on-off switch and then to the battery. So all this is crimped. All I got to do is heat shrink it, and then we can connect all this up. Got the battery cables connected to the switch. I'm just gonna bolt the switch in now. Alrighty, we got the switch installed. I got the protective cover on the back. So next, we'll hook up the battery cables to the starter battery. Watt cycle lithium batteries. Had some really good reviews on these, and I had a friend recommend them to me, so we bought 2 of these. They were only about $20 more than buying lead acid batteries. So those are going to be going in here in the house bank, and so we'll get those installed, and then we're going to drill a hole back here where that little pilot hole is. I'm going to use some butyl tape, put butyl tape around this fitting. Got these solar fuses that just plug right into the IP, I think it's 67 terminals. Alright, we got the wires all hooked up. I ran them down the side here and behind the little stern perch seat. And it comes down, and then I did a bulkhead fitting, and then I filled it full of super lube to help waterproof it a little better. And then that goes into this locker here, and drill a hole into the quarter berth. So now we'll run it along the quarter berth and then over to where the solar controller is going to mount. Got my 8 gauge wires ran down into the battery box. So now we're going to mount the solar controller. Gonna mount the solar controller right here, and then bring the wiring in on the right side there, and then curl it up under and put it into the terminals, so I don't have to drill a hole. Okay, the controller is mounted, so now I'm gonna work on getting it grounded, and then hook it up to the battery side, and then lastly hook it up to the solar panel side. Okay, I got my watt cycle batteries in there. I got my battery cables made up. I got my smart shunt. Need to connect this in there too. So I'm just making sure I got all my fusing right and everything on that front. Okay, I gotta call it a night. I got the solar controller connected on the battery side. I still need to run my wiring down there from the solar panels and then connect that into the controller. I got my new battery monitor connected in, so I got the smart shunt. Smart shunt is in, and then so I think I wired this all up right. So negative wired in parallel to the other negative, wired up to the smart shunt, and then everything else, the negative from the engine block, the grounding, all the other loads that come off are on the other side. And then I got the battery monitor connected up to this side. So I hope I think I got everything right, because I got this one on this one and that one on that one going to the shunt. So it just would think it's one big battery, and it already recognized it was 200 amp hours. Okay, I got everything on and it is working. The solar panels are charging. I ended up mounting the battery DC to DC charger. Mounted it on the back side of the wall here, just aft of the nav desk. So this place is trashed right now, but smart shunt's working good, battery monitor's working good. I'm just buttoning up all the batteries. I'm gonna put the lid on this one, and I'll come back to clean up this disaster. So the only thing I have to do is I need to do a little bit of cable management for all the stuff that goes to the DC-DC charger. And actually right now I have the DC-DC charger disabled because I need to do some research and see what voltages I want it to kick on and what voltages to kick off, because I don't want to drain my starter battery. And also want to do some research on what happens if your starter battery does get drained. How do you can you jump it from your lithium bank? How does that work? So I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading up on that. And was that kicking on? Yeah, that's putting some amps to the starter battery. The only thing I have got left to wire up is I need to wire up my high water alarm. So once I get this mess cleaned up, I'll work on that next. Okay, I just got my MTI safety alert all wired up. I got the wires ran them down through there, under there, along that edge, along the side of the motor. It comes out right here. I haven't finished up these connections yet because just testing it. So when the float comes up, gets to the top, sets the alarm off. So perfect. Now we got a high water alarm. Okay, there's the high water alarm installed. So just in case we take on water and don't know it, that'll let us know. I got blankets over the solar panels, and I disconnected the wires coming from the solar panels into the solar controller, and we're gonna get this inverter installed. I have a, where is it? I brought a grounding lug bus bar because I only have the one ground post that I've been trying to mount everything on, and it's just getting too full. So I'm gonna install a bus bar. Let me clean out this locker cupboard, and then I'll show you where I'm gonna put that. All right, I got it cleaned out. I'm gonna take my smart shunt and I'm gonna slide it back a little bit and have it mounted back here, and then I'll take this ground bus bar and I'll mount it, probably mount it that way just a little bit, and then I have a main ground wire right here, so this will go from the smart shunt to the bus bar, and then I'll have all my individual grounds landing on this bus bar, so they don't have to be all on that one lug. That's definitely too many things on there. All right, I got the inverter installed. I used double-sided sticky tape just to hold it down for now. Stuff's pretty strong. Got the positive, negative, and ground installed. I got my negative bus bar installed, so now I have all my negatives organized right there, and everything's hooked back up the way it's supposed to be. This is for the inverter, so yeah. That pretty much wraps up my project, and well, it was like solar, inverter, nature's head, high water alarm in the bilge, a whole bunch of different stuff. But this concludes it. We're getting ready for our big trip. Got about 2 weeks left, and I'm gonna start stocking and provisioning the boat now. I'll have to look over my list. I gotta repair my dinghy. It's got a little hole in it. But other than that, the boat's coming along. Should be blasting off on our trip on time. And see you in the future.